Other than Joel Embiid, Zion Williamson has been a constant name linked to the New York Knicks. And after a recent interview that he did with the media, those rumors are only going to get stronger because he basically said that currently he's still trying to buy in to what the Pelicans are trying to run. We're going to break down the report, let you know exactly what he said, and see if it's possible that the Pelicans could potentially trade Zion Williamson. We're also going to take a look at what Mitchell Robinson said in a recent interview as he spoke about the loyalty that he felt with the New York Knicks. All of this and so much more today. So be sure you're subscribed to the channel and have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. Zion Williamson apparently is unhappy with the Pelicans. Now, if you've been following Zion throughout his entire career, you know that hearing a story like this is not surprising. What is surprising is hearing it this early on because it just started the season. So to hear Zion potentially being unhappy with the Pelicans is a little bit surprising. But if you followed his story and his history, he's always been unhappy with something that the Pelicans are doing. Each and every year, there's a report that comes out about it. And now, if you take a look at his body language in the clip we're about to roll, and you listen to what he says, it's clear. He is unhappy with what the Pelicans are doing and what they're running. Roll the clip.
And you talked after the Houston game about how the offense is a little bit different for you this year than it was last year. Do you think that's something that you guys just need to address a little bit, maybe do some things differently or try to adapt some things from last year? I guess, how do you feel just where you are right now?
Like I said last year, we had a team meeting and it was brought up some things that I could do better, especially like with buying into the program. And right now it's tough right now, but like I said, right now I'm taking a little back seat right now, and I'm trusting the process. I'm trying my best to buy in right now.
Frustrated, upset, unhappy. Those are all the things that I look at and see when I take a look at Zion Williamson in that interview. His body language was very bad. What he said basically about the Pelicans organization, they had a team meeting last year where he basically was told that he should buy into what they're doing more and be more of a team player. I assume that's what happened because that's essentially what he was saying. And he's now still trying to do the same thing. Trying to buy in, even though it's tough. If you guys haven't followed what the Pelicans have been doing lately, I believe they dropped 5 straight games. They're on a 5-game losing streak, so it's very, very tough. And obviously, Zion doesn't like that. He's a competitor. He wants to win, and he wants to play good basketball. He wants to play basketball that's efficient, and the offense is well-oiled. And he doesn't feel like that's happening to an extent right now. But even though that's the case, he's still trying his best to buy into what the team is doing and play team basketball. But he's finding it very difficult to do because of the losing. And to an extent, I can understand that. And I can understand where Zion is coming from. I can understand why he's unhappy. Any competitor who loses game after game after game, especially if you can win some of those games, you're going to be unhappy. So him saying this is not surprising. Him being frustrated is not surprising. But the body language is very, very bad. Because if he's bringing that same body language into practice, into regular season games, then it's really going to hurt what the team is trying to do and everything they're trying to run. And I fully believe that. I think Zion is a great talent when healthy and also when he's bought into what's going on with the team. If those two things are not happening, then I think Zion can potentially be a liability. Because you need positive energy in your locker room, especially from your stars, because that's going to trickle down to everybody else. If one of your star players looks frustrated and doesn't have it, other players on your team are going to see that. They're going to be affected by it, and it's going to hurt the team. And I think you're seeing a little bit of that right now within the Pelicans organization, given the losing streak that they're having. And it's hard to buy in when you're losing. And I think everybody who's a competitor can say that. So I can feel for Zion just a little bit. But anytime Zion makes statements like this, it's going to open the door to potential reports coming out that he could be traded, that the Pelicans should trade him, and that other teams are interested in Zion. And I'm sure those reports are going to come out. And one of those teams at the top of that list is always going to be the New York Knicks. because the Knicks were supposed to draft Zion, and if they had the number 1 pick or Zion fell to number 3, they would have picked him. Absolutely. I think in hindsight right now, they have no regrets. Given what Zion has become, given what Ja Morant has become, and given where RJ Barrett is right now and the step that he's taking in his career, I think that the Knicks are very, very happy where things have landed. That's not to say, though, that they wouldn't entertain getting more talent on the team at the right price. And if the Pelicans are having a rough time and they keep spiraling out of control, they might make other players available, especially players that are disgruntled. And Zion Williamson fits that bill to the letter. So if he's going to be the player that's available and the Pelicans are looking to potentially move off of him for a price that is not over the top, I think the Knicks might be one of the teams to look out and try to get him. And it is something to note that the Knicks checked in for Zion this past offseason. Now, the Pelicans obviously didn't say or do anything because it was the offseason and it was a fresh start at that point in time. Right now, they're in a spiral and potentially in a collapse. And if they collapse fully to the floor, there are going to be some changes that happen, and the most disgruntled stars are going to be the first ones to go. And that might include Zion. Now, I don't know if the Knicks are going to be the players that entertain a trade because it's all going to be about the trade package and what the Pelicans want back. But if they want to make a fair deal, I think Leon Rose would raise his hand and be all for it. Now, it may be a little early to talk about this, but to note that something is going on in the Pelicans, to note there may be some chaos going on within the Pelicans organization, and that Leon Rose is not looking at that to think that's not happening, I think we all know when stars are talking, when we sense or see issues around the league, GMs, presidents, they're going to look and they're going to monitor the situation to see if there's a chance that they could potentially throw their name in there and get that star on their team. And if the situation gets worse and worse and worse, Leon and company are going to monitor that and likely pounce. So I think right now, all eyes should be firmly fixated on the Pelicans organization because they look like they're spiraling out of control. Mitchell Robinson is thankful for the New York Knicks and the loyalty that they've shown him. So you gotta love reports that come out like this. Mitchell Robinson, 2nd round pick, a story really. Nobody thought he could really be anything, but he was tall, he was gifted in terms of athleticism, but he was raw, green as a talent, and he's developed year after year after year. And now today, as we sit here talking about him, he's probably the best offensive rebounder in the game. One of the top centers on defense in the game today. And he's one of the leaders in terms of people in the game that can alter a game and impact the game nearly by himself because of the presence and the dominance that he creates when he's on the floor and the fear that he puts into players that go against him, whether you're shooting over him, shooting up against him, or trying to take contact with him. It's a hard matchup, especially nowadays when he's in the best shape of his entire career. And recently, he had an interview with MSG's Rebecca Harlow, and he said the following on the Knicks and their loyalty to him. MSG Network's Rebecca Harlow spoke to Mitchell Robinson about being the longest tenured Knick, and she reported the following after a conversation with him. According to Harlow, Robinson is the longest tenured Knick. He's getting national attention for his defense and his offensive rebounding. He told me that there is so much loyalty with this Knicks organization that he wants to run through a wall for this team because of how much loyalty they've shown him and how they were so patient with helping him grow. Shout out to Mitchell Robinson for giving the Knicks some praise here because he is right to an extent. Even though he should be utilized a little bit more on offense, and he knows that and has definitely complained about that. He also goes very, very far in giving the Knicks praise in terms of where he is in his career right now. Because he knows if it wasn't for this Knicks organization, he might not be where he is today. He might not be making the money that he's making right now today. And he might not be looking like one of the best offensive rebounders in the game today. Mitchell Robinson is gifted in a lot of ways, but I think defensively, what he's learned, how far he's come, the foul trouble that he used to have that is now non-existent. I think these things that we used to take for granted, that we no longer take for granted because we see it on a consistent basis. We're so used to Mitchell Robinson being good that we forgot that a few years ago, he was still very green and not that great. We got to give credit where credit is due. Tom Thibodeau, we got to give credit where credit is due. Tom Thibodeau, the coaching staff, and also Mitchell Robinson, his trainer, all of those people combined have helped Mitchell Robinson become the player that he is today. And he recognizes that, and he loves that, and he loves the loyalty that he felt from this Knicks team. Robinson is so loyal to this organization that he wants to run through a wall for this team, as he mentioned to Rebecca Harlow. That is a statement. That means that he loves this team, and even though he gets frustrated at times with how he's used on the offensive side of the ball, I think it's clear. He respects this organization. He loves this organization. He understands what they did for him, where he is in his career right now. He respects that, and he loves the fact that they're continuing to feature him, to go to him. He's getting recognized for all of the things that we love about him on this Knicks team, and I think that means a lot to him. So credit him for showing loyalty back to the Knicks by saying all these great things about him, because when you hear praise from your current players who are playing on the roster for your team, it makes other players around the league understand and hear that too, and maybe hear the fact that a cultural difference is happening with this Knicks team, and it's not that Knicks team you used to know. It's a different team, and it might help stars who might be on the fence thinking about, maybe should I join the Knicks? Hearing comments like this from current players on the Knicks might make those stars go over that fence and want to join the Knicks. So you gotta love when players say this. Shout out to Mitchell Robinson, who in my opinion is having one of the best starts to a season in his entire career. And I love to see it. But what about you guys? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think about Mitchell Robinson and his dominance this season? And what do you think about the loyalty that he feels to this Knicks organization? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you about that, and of course, about the Zion Williamson situation. But I hope you liked this video, and if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below, and of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.